This is part 2 of Haunted by Chuck Palahniuk. I'm absolutely loving this book right now. It has a murder mystery vibe to it, and the characters are insane. It doesn't really feel like a gory splatterpunk book, but that's okay. It's a nice break. So where we left off in part 1, we were going through this weird backstory slash like poem thing from Saint Gutfrey. And there was a weird lead up about the story about a carrot being used as a tool. But then we go into Saint Gutfrey's backstory, which somehow, for some reason, the carrot story ties into it. So Saint Gutfrey growing up was exposed to different sexual things, and he grew an addiction to self-pleasing. And there's a lot of different things that he tried that he liked, and he wanted to expand what he was doing to himself. And literally, I'd say this is the worst part of the book so far with, 9 hours left. So Saint Gutfrey as a teenager had a swimming pool in the backyard. Literally, this type of shit haunted my childhood for ages. So he would go underwater, he'd sit at the suction on the bottom of the pool as he would, he called it pearl diving. And that is when you finish in water and it looks like pearls and you scoop them. Anyway, so in this particular instance, St. Gutfrey sat on that suction for a little too long and he got stuck. Now, I had an in-ground pool growing up, and my parents told me this horror story about people getting stuck and stuff would happen. And the details that come from what I'm about to tell you, literally like since I was 6 to an adult, I think about this story that my parents told me, and it traumatized me. My entire life, I haven't been able to touch or like look at a pool filtration system or like the suction. Even the jets freak me out. But god damn it, I love swimming and I love a good pool. So Saint Gutfrey got stuck to the bottom of the pool. So he was running out of air and he was trying to get himself unstuck. Eventually he managed to use enough force to kick himself off the bottom, and he kind of got free. And then, he was getting closer and closer to the top. And this is the only time I have ever like fast forward through a book before. I felt faint. I was unwell because this was my biggest fear as a child. So Saint Gutfrey looks back and he was trying to process what he was looking at. And it looked like some crazy monster, large worm was trying to like attack him from the bottom of the pool coming out of the suction. It was his intestines. It was his insides, what he was looking at. And he went through all the crazy shit inside your head, like, oh, what if my parents find me, and this, and like, how am I going to get unstuck? Oh my god, what am I going to do? These books really love their descriptions because it really described what it looked like and how half digested food was still making its way through his intestines. I'll save you the details, but he got himself free, missing over half of his innards in himself. And his parents never talked about it and never brought it up with him again. After, of course, they came home and their son is covered in blood. And he had to come clean and tell his parents that, oh, this thing happened. And they ended up like hiring someone to clean out their pool. And the pool guy found the meaty remains inside the pool like suction system. And the parents covered for St. Gutfrey, and they're like, oh, we had a dog that passed away in the pool and it was kind of gnarly. And the pool guy's like, what is this? And the dad's like, yeah, that's probably what's left of the dog. Oh god. So that is why St. Gutfrey is a very thin older man, is because he can't eat very much. He doesn't have the system to digest a lot of food. And somehow the end of this story of St. Gutfrey tied in with the carrot story. But that's pretty much the backstory of St. Gutfrey. And this book continues on with every character that we meet. We get a little snippet of their backstory, which I think is really cool. So moving on, we're still riding in the bus, and we pick up Reverend Godless. Reverend Godless gives me like gothic drag queen vibes. Shaved eyebrows, but he drew them back on. He's got these crazy like makeup. It's great. He's bringing on a suitcase with tons of compartments and zippers all over. Next, we pick up Baroness Frostbite and her hundreds of tubes of chapstick because her mouth was described to be like a pink lipstick pucker. When the temperature gets too cold, her skin cracks and she just lathers herself in chapstick to prevent that. But as soon as she boarded the bus, like, everyone just kind of avoided eye contact with her for some reason. Next, we meet Miss America. Miss America is a famous fashion model. She brought herself those 80s workout leotards, the skin tight ones, along with blonde hair dye, a pregnancy test, and an ab roller. Those wheels with two little handles on the side where you can stretch yourself out and just like do an ab workout. The narrator continues to speak about how each of these people began to leave notes, really like cryptic notes, before they disappeared. Since no one was really allowed to tell anybody where they were going, it just added to the mystery. Miss America wrote on the mirror of her boyfriend in lipstick, "I am not fat." Director Denial wrote a memo to her entire agency that said, "Find your own objects to fuck." Little Miss Sneezy didn't really have anybody to leave a note for, so she just spray painted a park bench, the bus stop bench, in red spray paint that said, "Call me when you found a cure." The matchmaker left a folded note on the dinner table for his wife to find. "It's been 14 weeks since I've had that head cold, and you still won't kiss me. This summer, you can milk the cows." The Countess Forsyte left a number for her parole officer to call. 1-800-FUCK-OFF. The same Countess Forsyte emerged from the back of the bus wearing a hair wrap and a lace shawl. She was there the whole time. The Countess Forsyte looks at Comrade Snarky and says, "Just so you're aware, this is a global conditioning sensor," flashing her ankle monitor. "It was given to me for my early release from prison. And yes, I did read your mind." And now we meet Mother Nature. Mother Nature sat crisscross at the bus stop. She had these intricate henna tattoos up her arms with lotus flowers, covered in silver jewelry with crystals and charm. A cardboard box sat next to her with folded clothes, candles, incense, different spices like thyme, sage, pine, and oils and all that. She boarded the bus and everyone was hit with the smell of all these essential oils. And she goes, "Patchouli." The narrator then said, for the 3 months that they would be gone, they wouldn't need many clothes. The tour bus would be found, but we wouldn't. We next meet the Duke of Vandals. Clothes covered in paint stains, fingers coated in charcoal and pastel. He carried a box full of painting supplies and the little aluminum acrylic paint sets. The Duke of Vandals left his landlord a "screw your lease" note. So the narrator then says, no, they wouldn't have gone if they knew they'd be stranded. They were led to believe that their accommodation would have running water, toothpaste, beds, etc., etc. The narrator then said, what's more important is what we didn't bring. The Duke of Vandals didn't bring cigarettes. He's been chewing on nicotine gum. Saint Godfrey didn't bring pornography. The Countess Forsyte and the matchmaker didn't bring their wedding rings. And what Mr. Whittier would always say is, what stops you in the outside world is what stops you in here. You see, the rest of the disaster was not their fault. They had no reason to bring a chainsaw, or a sledgehammer, or a pickaxe, or a gun. You see, they would have been safe where they were. They brought nothing that could save them.